All right, everybody, is Coach Matt, and this is the YOLO coaching call. But we'll be using this for a multitude of reasons because what I'm going to do today is make nutrition uncomplicated. Just going through a lot of the check-in forms and finishing those today. It seems that a lot of people are trying to make nutrition way too complicated. Like, I can't do it. It's so hard. So literally, while my wife was doing the TNL live show, and I left the gym at 7:05, and it's now 8:05. I went to the grocery store. In 15 minutes, I shopped for 4 people, food for 4 people, cooking real food, and it is not that complicated. And the prep is about 10 minutes to cook each meal. And so we're going to dive into that. But before we do, I just got 2 quick promo teasers. If you get the Stroll magazine, TrYumph and myself are the featured article in this month's episode or edition or whatever you call a magazine. Edition? Been so long, but y'all should check that out. But a little teaser for my YOLO people. We're going to be focusing a lot on mindset. But this book, Blue Zones on Happiness, you may be familiar with Dan Butner, who wrote the Blue Zones for longevity. The Blue zones are the populations around the world. They found they have the highest per capita amount of centenarians, and he studied them with grants and funding to figure out what common denominators they had. And he did the repeat of that, but with happiness. And they came up with 9, I believe it's 9 common denominators that I'm going to be breaking down for you guys. Save you a lot of time and effort in reading and give you the meat and potatoes. So that's coming, and hopefully you're diving into the guides and the content, and mindset is the magic. We talk about sleep being the foundation of health and all the pillars of health right on top of that. But mindset is the roof that covers it all. And without the proper mindset, you're just going to set yourself up for failure. So if you have the right why, the right mindset, anything's possible. You're going to guarantee success because the universe, God, you, your subconscious, we're all going to come into alignment and make whatever you're trying to achieve happen. But if you have that self-doubt and don't have belief in what you're doing, don't have belief in yourself, don't have belief in the person, process, or program that you're trying to follow, then ultimately you're not going to be successful. So we really have to wrap our minds around the mindset component. And that's why that's going to be a huge part of this YOLO journey. Some of you are further along than others. I've been working on this mind and for a long time, as long as I can remember, and reading Norman Vincent Peale's The Power of Positive Thinking. I think that book was written in the 50s. And I have an old tattered copy with brown pages, and it's a great resource guide that I go back to. But so that's just a little teaser for what's coming in the coaching materials ahead. But let's dive into nutrition made stupid, simple, uncomplicated, whatever you want to call it. And first thing I'm going to hit right square in the mouth is those people that are truly time starved, truly overstressed, and just want a simple solution. And I'm going to show you. So most of you have heard of magic coffee. So I'm going to kind of lay this out visually. Hopefully you can see it. This is how you would start your day. Takes about 3 minutes to make. If you have a programmable coffee maker, you can do it with tea. And I know that's not for everybody, but I would say 80% of Americans drink coffee. And of those, the people that try the bulletproof coffee or the magic coffee, whatever you want to call it, I like to call it magic coffee because it makes me feel magical. And that just sets the tone for intermittent fasting. And I'm not going to get into the details. You can watch that video in the guides. And then at about 12 o'clock or 12 hours into your fasting window, 12 to 16, boom, you get yourself a little rebuilt meal in this case, or some other food prep service. Ours, with our TrYumph discount, averages $9.12. Cheaper than Chipotle, cheaper than Moe's, cheaper than probably anything but a $5 biggie bag at Wendy's. you can have a 500 calorie, no preservative meal, protein, vegetables, and usually I get the keto low carb, and they made like a cream of rice or cream of cauliflower type little side for your little starch freaks. And then you might need a little snack because you've been working hard. Get yourself some kind of protein, keto, low carb protein bar that you can tolerate. You would have that between the two. And then at dinner, you have yourself another rebuilt meal. So for $18 plus the cost of this and your coffee, you have, see if I can align that, an easy, uncomplicated, no prep day, 90 seconds in the microwave, throw it away, no cleanup. You got to get rid of the excuses. Anybody can do that and have good nutrition. And the variety of foods, if you are a picky eater, then yes, you may have to invest a little bit of time and go through their choices and pick a la carte. But I just set it and forget it. And every week I get 10 meals, 2 breakfasts, 8 meals. So that covers my lunches and 3 of Holly's lunches. And that's just one solution. Is everybody cool with that? That's stupid simple. No time other than a little bit of pickup, no inconvenience. Anybody can do that. And your health is worth it. And if you're stressing about cooking and shopping and all that, that's an easy solution. Or, maybe you replace your lunch meal where you're going out for fast food and stressing about that. Maybe it replaces one of your meals. Maybe dinner's your problem and you replace dinner. And then you have a lunch that you make or prepare or something like that. So that, my friends, is nutrition made stupid simple. No prep on your part. Yeah, the cost of that, though, compared to what you're going to spend anyway on the ingredients, is probably less than it would take if you factor in the time for your shopping. If you're not valuing your own time, then I would do that little budgeting exercise. I know Amy's on and she's an accountant, and you have to kind of have a time value of your, value of your time. So I value mine at $200 an hour. So if we're pricing out somebody to help us do something, a handyman, I know if it takes me 2.5 hours to mow the lawn and it costs us $140 to pay somebody to do it, and that's per week, that's worth it. Saves me 2 hours a week times 4 weeks, that's 8 hours. So that's $1,600. Costs us $147 a month. I'm saving $900 the way I look at it. So I digress. But let's talk about those of you that want to be a little more resourceful and a little more creative and a little more adventurous and responsible. You want to do your own food. So basically what I want to do is tee up some lunch and dinner. If you want a bigger dinner and a smaller lunch, or vice versa, or maybe you're a breakfast person. I do have a few people that do it this way: breakfast, lunch, and then they fast, skipping dinner. So usually, and that's, physiologically the best way to do it. But in my opinion, it's not the realistic way. We're very social. The social component of longevity is a huge factor. So I always account for that. And family dinners, if you have children or you have family or you have a social network, there is huge value in that. And a lot of that happens in the evening. So I always feel like dinner being the social meal, lunch being more strategic, and then your coffee in the morning. It's really that simple. So now let's step it up a notch and let's talk about putting food actually on this. So literally, I'm not exaggerating, 15 minutes, I went to the grocery store because that's all the time I had. And I bought perimeter of the store. Everybody's probably heard that, right? 2 bags of groceries. And this is going to feed our family of 4 for a week with different foods. And this is where you can uncomplicate things. If you think about, if you haven't heard my concept of protein forward, protein, vegetables, it's simple pairings. You don't have to overcomplicate it. Some simple seasonings and an air fryer, which you can't see we have over that. We have an oven. We have cast iron skillet and some nice cookware, and you can have dinners. We have a grill outside, but I don't use it that much. So in 2 bags of groceries, 15 minutes of my time, and it was $142. I am feeding our family for a 4. We have 2 sons and my wife and I for a week. So let's just talk about simple concepts. In a future episode, we're going to food prep and kind of show you visually the actual cooked food. And we're going to do one on just how to do vegetables in bulk in creative, delicious ways. But I'm going to talk you through it today. If you don't like a particular protein, just substitute with something else. I like variety, so we rotate our protein sources. One of the convenient ways we do grass-fed beef. This is from Butcher Box. This is how they come prepackaged. These are 2 grass-fed ribeyes. You can see the grass-fed have a lot less fat on them. And the color of the fat is yellow instead of white. That's because it has more omega-3 fats in grass-fed beef. It's like 50-50 omega-3s, omega-6s, which is versus non-grass-fed's about 80-20 omega-6s to omega-3s. So you've heard like in salmon and fish, deep water fish, you can get your omega-3s, but guess what? You can get it in grass-fed meat too. So if you'd rather eat a steak, and you've heard me say, or if you haven't, and I'm going to say it again, if I could only have one food for the rest of my life and I wanted to survive and thrive, it would be grass-fed ribeyes for the healthy fats, the phytonutrients in the grass-fed beef, and the fact that I love it, it's delicious. So that is a food delivery service that specializes in grass-fed beef, heritage pork, pasture-raised chicken. But assuming you're not doing that, and I think my box is $155, and I throw in some add-ons, and it comes out to be $210. And you can set the frequency based on your consumption, but you can thaw that out. It's really easy. You can even air fry this from frozen to medium rare in 14 minutes, and it tastes delicious. So very uncomplicated. You put it in the air fryer, put some Montreal steak seasoning, push the button, walk away, and it's done. It's easy. So what I'm going to do is kind of just some options. Here's chicken breast, which we would do a pan-sear with maybe some fresh garlic if you want to get fancy. But most cases, we just use some simple seasonings. And, that's individual. It doesn't have to be, you don't have to make fancy sauces and fancy sides. And I got my vegetables over here. Who likes eggs? This is my late night quick dinner solution. If I come home, I'll scramble 6 eggs and throw it over some mixed greens. It's crazy. I throw everything over mixed greens. That's me. I'm weird, but it's easy. So who wants chicken and asparagus? There's chicken and asparagus, family of 4. Take literally 10 minutes to make this. That's dinner 1 for the week. One of my favorites, and I've been telling people, the takeaway from this is you want to come up with 5 to 7 simple things that you can do with your eyes closed. And those will just be your autopilot things that you make all the time, and just simplifies the process. So if you are one of those people that's really picky and like, oh, I can't eat that all the time, 5 to 7 gives you plenty of variety. Trust me, if you're hungry enough, it's going to taste good. If you're not hungry, it's because you're eating too much crap, probably. So be aware of that. Ground beef, though, is really easy because you brown it, drain it if you want. If it's grass-fed, I keep the fat in there for the reasons I just described. But if it's not grass-fed and you can survive without grass-fed, I'll drain the fat and I'll put some olive oil in it to replace it with some monounsaturated fats. So here we go. What I like about ground beef, if you're in the mood for a little bit of Italian, I might throw a low sugar marinara in it. If we want a little taco night, I might throw some taco seasoning in there. And we eat it with red cabbage leaves. Those make great taco shells. I like to eat it over mixed greens, which I have a bunch of. Arugula I love, but I always buy like mixed greens, one of these if I can get it out of here. So I get this big size of mixed greens every week, and either arugula or baby spinach. And what I do, and again, this may not be your jam, but I'll just fill up a plate with some kind of mixed greens, and then I put my protein on top. Protein, vegetable. It's stupid simple, and it's really easy. So let's say you're not in the mood for salad. Let's do filet mignon. If you like fillets, and some broccoli. So if you want to save some time, you can get pre-washed, pre-cut, no stems, broccoli ready to go. This is enough for our family of 4. Steam it. If you really want to try something cool, oven roast it, put a little bit of olive oil on it, and oven roast it until it's turning bright green, and then just finish it in the broiler. You got to watch it, but literally about a minute, minute and a half, just to the flowerets start to turn brown, like crispy. Oven roasted broccoli and filet mignon. That's dinner number 2, ready to go. And it literally will take me less than 15 minutes to prep and cook this. It takes 5 minutes for the pan to heat up. So I'll do a pan sear on my steaks and then finish them in the oven at 405 until they're at temperature. You don't have one of these, get a digital thermometer, and you can Google proper temperature for whatever meat you're cooking. Poultry's higher than meat. If you want medium rare, that's 125 to 135. I like to take it out at 128 because it's still going to cook a little bit. 135 is kind of the magic number for medium rare, but that's a little digital tool you want to have, and it makes the cooking process pretty thorough in terms of not screwing it up and overcooking stuff. So what do we just have? Filet and broccoli. If you want a side salad with that, you can do that. You want some turkey burgers? 93% lean ground turkey burgers already made into patties. Pan sear them, Montreal steak seasoning, finish them in the oven. Take these to about 160. 4 of those, 4 of us. And let's do that with maybe some green beans. Washed, pre-cut, even cut off the stems. Turkey burger and green beans. You can steam these. You can air fry. We air fry these. They kind of crisp up like French fries. And just last night we did snow peas. And literally one of our kids says, Caden said to Keegan, his brother, Keegan, taste it, tastes like potato chips. It was nothing fancy. We just put it in the air fryer and it kind of crisped it. So there we go, turkey burger and green beans for dinner. And the other thing that I'm pointing out is if you're a family of 4, you can double this recipe, and then you have 4 lunches or 2 lunches for 2 people. That's what we do. We actually cook for 6, and 2 of my lunches I bring with me because Holly's taking some of the rebuilt meals. And usually I give away 2 to a new client or somebody that wants to try one. So plus I like bringing our own food. So we'll cook for 6. And then I take one of these, and instead of putting it in the refrigerator right away as we're prepping, like literally putting on the table, I'll put my lunch portion in 2 of these. So I'll put a chicken breast and whatever I made with the chicken breast, in there. And there's my lunch. Same dinner, same time, prepping 2 lunches at the same time. So glass Tupperware comes with a lunch box that has insulation plus place for ice if you need to keep it cold for any reason. That solves the lunch problem. So let's keep moving on. There's turkey burgers and green beans and grass-fed burgers if you want those, but I wanted to do some variety here. You want salmon, if you like fish fillets, can be good. We're really in a time crunch or just feeling really lazy, I'll do 4 cans of tuna, some dill relish, I like the salty stuff, some walnuts, I'll crumble some walnuts in there for texture, and then I like the Primal Kitchen mayonnaise. So I'll do half of the mayonnaise and half of olive oil as the fat, and then just make that into the tuna salad and put it over these mixed greens. And I'll put a little bit of extra vinegar from our peppercini jar on top of this, but any vinegar, red wine, just be careful with balsamic because it does have sugar. It can. But here we go, pork chops and asparagus. I'm actually going to do a demo to show you how to cook asparagus the right way. And if you don't know, I purchased, it's called Masterclass, and it's an annual subscription. It's not cheap, but it's not expensive. And 12 different world-class chefs that I can watch teach me how to cook this like they do. So I watch a Gordon Ramsay break down asparagus, how to cook it properly, and then using the buds, the nibs that you take off. If you don't know how to cook asparagus, you always break off the bottom. It'll naturally break off, and that woody part that ruins it, and for most people, snaps right off. Then you throw that into, you boil that with a couple of ingredients and make a puree that you can decorate your plate with. So I'm going to break that down on a future coaching call. But pork chops are really easy. Pan sear on both sides, whatever seasoning. I tend to gravitate to Montreal steak or Weber, Chicago steak, seasoning, and then finish it in the oven. So pork chops and asparagus one night, that could be another dinner. And again, I told you about the eggs. One of my late night snacks, this may not be for you, but 6 scrambled eggs. I'll put some cottage cheese on there. And it just makes it easy. But the other thing I want to show you, and hopefully that's making sense, and I'll break these beautiful pasture raised eggs. Let's talk about eggs real quick. Pasture raised is the only thing you need to be concerned with. Free range and cage free mean absolutely nothing. And if you really want to see the whole story, watch the documentary Holy Chicken by Morgan Spurlock, the same one that did Super Size Me about McDonald's. He actually documented the process of trying to do a healthy fast food chain, and his product was going to be chicken. And to raise chicken, he showed what it is required by law to be cage free or free range. So cage free just means they're not living in small cages, but they're still in these mega warehouses with 30,000 chickens running around stampeding each other, and a large portion of them die off because they're so confined in tight space. So that is cage free. Free range means they put a 6-foot radius fence outside the door, and for a small portion of the day they slide open the door and the chickens can free range in that 6-foot radius of fence. Whereas pasture raised means they're on pasture, and when they do it right, they have these kind of giant cage things that move over the pasture, and they're eating the natural worms. They also supplement them with organic food, just to make the process more viable for production. But you're getting a lot more nutrients in a pasture raised egg versus cage free and free range. Not to say those are bad, because they are feeding those things some good things like the happy eggs. They are feeding them some serious food because those yolks are chock full of omega-3s and other B vitamins and acetylcholine and a lot of good stuff. So I like eggs. They're very nutrient dense. Don't skip the yolk. If you want more food volume and you're worried about fat, you can do 1-to-1, like 1 whole egg and 1 egg white, and do so 3 whole eggs and 3 egg whites. A lot of food volume with half the calories and a lot less fat. So anyway, pork chops and asparagus. Let's do some ground beef. And if you want to be really lazy, drain yourself a can of sweet peas, rinse them off, mix those into the ground beef, and you can buy mashed cauliflower now. It's already done, just like right next to the mac and cheese, family size. And let me let these other people in. That's the only problem with not having a co-host. We got 2 more people coming in. Thank you for joining, Tim and iPhone. But you know, that makes, I mean, that's really stupid simple. Or you can do a can of black beans. So basically, the other thing I want to point out is protein, vegetable. Hopefully, you're catching that theme. And then 3 to 5 portions of starch or fruit per week. So for me, one of my favorites, and this is a good dessert option, is get a vanilla Greek yogurt without sugar or no sugar. The 000 means 0 sugar, 0 fat. I'm not worried about the fat, just more worried about the sugar. So I will do, I can go grab them real quick. Keep the knees in your freezer at all times. Try not to kill myself. Almost stepped on my son's pencil. So wild blueberries, organic if you must. And I'll fill up. Want to see my dessert bowl? This is the rule in our house. If you kids want dessert, they can have ice cream, but it's got to be in this little bowl. And that's adult rule too. So that kind of confines it to about 200 max calories. But what I like to do more than that is put a half cup of frozen blueberries in the bottom of this, 2 dollops of Greek yogurt, and then I'll crumble up some walnuts. And then if I really want to make it pizzazzy, I'll put a tablespoon of grain-free granola on there. And it is heaven on earth for dessert and feels good. So everybody that's tried that has always thanked me. And they're like, dude, that's my favorite dessert now. You feel better about it. It's about 100 calories max with the granola. Without the granola, it's probably about 70 calories, maybe 60, depending on how much walnuts you're in there. But the other cool thing I want to talk about, Slim by Design, is a book by Brian Wansing. Eating on smaller plates. I don't know if you all picked up on what I was throwing down. We eat most of the time dinner on these plates. And I don't know if these are 6-inch or 7-inch, but protein and a vegetable fits on there. We have a side salad. If we're doing a protein, vegetable, and starch, I'll put the bigger plates out just to accommodate that. So I do have some starch options just to show you. If you're doing starch, and I'm not saying to avoid starch, you want to make sure you're having your 3 to 5 portions of fruits and starches, and that protects your thyroid function. So it also makes food fun. So here's a baked potato. You would just eat your protein and vegetables. You're going to learn about nutrient sequencing. Do the protein vegetables first, and then have your delicious starch. This is my favorite starch to have is jasmine rice, and I'll do about 200 calorie portion of that, which is about half of the bag. So when I'm food prepping in this Tupperware, if I want a starch, I'll do half of this in one and I'll put half in another, and I'll have those 2 meals over the course of the week. So need a high protein snack, hard-boiled eggs. This is our son's go-to. He's already housed 3 of them. There's 4 of them. There's 2 left. Avocados, just talking about different whole food snacks. You can have a half an avocado with, I like to do it with cottage cheese. You could do it with 2 hard-boiled eggs. That is a real satiating snack. Apples are really high fiber, high pectin, high satiating for a snack between your 2 meals. Do that with some kind of nut butter or the hard-boiled eggs or that protein bar. So it's kind of a combination of a whole food and a processed engineered food. And they have these little protein peanut butter things to go now. That's what we put in our kids' lunchbox with an apple. And then we put a little spoon in there for them. So, I mean, I don't know, raise your hands if that's pretty simple, letting in another. And I'm recording this for those of you just joining, and I'll be uploading to YouTube, and I'll be sending that link out to everybody that's in YOLO. I'll also post it in the Facebook group, and we may use it for other purposes too. But so kind of just to recap, and then I'm going to open it up to questions, and I have my show and tell here. So I really hope you guys got some good questions for me. We're trying to keep these pretty efficient in under 45 minutes, but for those real quick recap, if you want a simple solution for your daily prep, you got your bulletproof coffee in the morning, 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock, and a snack in between. That's it. That's a rebuilt meal or other food service. And then protein, vegetable. Perimeter of the store takes less shopping time. These are on the perimeter of the store, at least in ours as well, just in the frozen section. So just get a variety of whole food proteins, get a variety of vegetables. I like to get the pre-washed, pre-cut, saves a lot of time on the prep. I did not do that with asparagus because this doesn't come that way. So you would snap off the ends, pan saute them. I'm going to do some cooking demos, not today, but show you guys how fast and easy it is to cook. And you just have to know a couple spices, salt and pepper when in doubt. I like to use sea salt, Himalayan sea salt, or I have this new Celtic salt that I got. Redmond sea salt you can get on Amazon. It's a high mineral sea salt. So whatever floats your boat, hopefully that makes sense to you guys. So last thing I'll recap is smaller plates. If you're doing desserts, my son just walked in. Maybe he can testify to the size of the bowl. Holly just walked in. She just did a TNL show. But Kaden, what bowls do we use when we have ice cream?
Yeah.
Tell them they got to see you.
This one.
Right. And if you can have that, you get some ice cream every night.
Basic him.
Yeah.
Do you know why you have
It's
bowls
right
that
that
small?
Because if you eat too much, you'll get a tummy ache, and it's not good for you. And this
There you
is
go.
the right amount.
Yep. Keeps it to about 200 calories. So, and he's been doing that since he was 5 and 6. So we can teach our kids to do that. Hopefully we can teach you guys to do that. So that, the last bowl I want to show you is this is the bowl I use for rice, or for like this weekend we had brunch. I made cream of rice cereal. If we make oatmeal, if we make any kind of like pureed mashed potatoes, we serve them in these bowls. So it's kind of like portioned out, got your protein, which you can be liberal with, vegetables you can be liberal with, and then portion control the starch. Eat it in that order: protein, vegetable, vegetable, protein. You can eat the vegetable protein together. And then you can have your starch and enjoy it, and eat slower, chew your food, savor the flavor, not complicated. So hopefully I made that argument pretty well. I know I was just kind of flying off the cuff, and I appreciate your patience. But I'm going to open it up now for questions, and do that. I'm going to turn off the recording, or maybe I'll just let it roll, and people, since it's at the end, if they don't want to watch it, they don't have to. You can tune out now, but we're going to open it up for questions, but I'm going to leave the recording rolling because we're going to get some great questions. So you can either put it in the chat, and hopefully I'll be able to see it, or you can raise your hand, or you can just come off of mute and start talking. Any questions? Y'all are scared, aren't you? Scared. I'm not going to ask them anything. Going to yell at me. I won't yell at you guys.
Matt,
I
can
was
you hear
talking
me?
fast. Yes, I can hear somebody.
It's Michelle. Hi.
Hi.
Quick question about the Oikos Greek yogurt. Isn't
Yeah.
there a lot of sweeteners in that?
Yeah, here's the rule on artificial sweeteners. Don't throw the baby out with the bathwater. A little artificial sweeteners is not going to, they've studied it upside down, backwards, and sideways, and determined it's not. There's a lot of mythology, or myth science, I call it. People have said it long enough, you believe, oh, artificial sweeteners can cause neurological diseases. No, if everything you eat is artificially sweetened, I'm not saying that's good. I'm just saying,
So do you think that's better than having the plain, like regular yogurt without sugar? Like,
well, if you
just
can
the
do
full,
Bajay plain, and you can put your own honey in it, that would be,
because that's what
preferable.
that's what I've been doing, is the whole with the honey.
yeah, do whole plain Greek yogurt, which is higher protein. And then the blueberries give it a nice little sweet, the almond or the walnuts or the granola
Yeah.
give it crunch. And then I'll put like a teaspoon of honey on top.
That's exactly what I do. I'm just wondering if I should switch to the sugar-free now.
No, the honey actually is good for sleep. So that would be preferable. You just have to be a little bit more cautious with how much honey you're putting on. And you want to make sure, that's kind of as a dessert after you have some protein and vegetables.
Okay.
Not be problem. That's actually a great, and it probably tastes delicious because you can taste the difference between real natural sugar and honey and the artificial stuff.
Yeah.
Great question. Thank you. And thank you for having the courage to unmute. I think I see the chat. If you just want to put it in the chat, I can read it. But any other questions? I know you're driving. Don't be crazy. Cottage cheese is fairly high in protein. Is that considered more of an end of meal option? Well, you always want to lead with protein. I don't know if you mean end of day, end of meal. Remember, protein first, protein forward, protein first, protein forward, protein first, protein forward. Whatever sinks into your head, lead with protein. So if you're having dinner and your protein choice is cottage cheese, I would have that with, if you want it sweet, you can have it with the wild blueberries and some walnuts. That's just an easy bachelor type, quick and easy meal. I mentioned putting them over scrambled eggs. That's my jam. One of my late night, like if I'm really hungry and I don't want to eat anything carby, I'll have a half cup of cottage cheese, maybe even up to a cup, and I'll put a tablespoon of olive oil over it and some fresh ground pepper. I love that. Some people might want to do it with honey. I tried it the other night. Wasn't my jam, but I do like Greek yogurt with honey. And you're about the casein and cottage cheese is a little bit slower digesting, so it is kind of good towards the end of the meal. If you've been working out with weights and you're getting your adequate sleep, then cottage cheese can be a great, like, towards the end of the day, if that's what you meant, Tim, option. But it's also a good middle of the day snack. Like, you can keep the little cottage cheese packs and you're looking for something to fill between the two meals, that would be another option. So got a whole hot mess here. For those of you that join late, you're probably, what is going on? But you'll get to watch it back when I send out the replay. Any other questions? I know I did see, just while y'all are thinking and building the courage to ask any more questions, when I went through all 21 check-in forms yesterday and today, there was quite a significant, I would say, theme with sleep and struggling with sleep. So on the check-in reviews that I sent back to you guys, a lot of times I was saying a simple habit to start with, to start habit stacking a sleep routine, is brushing your teeth at a certain time. Set an alarm. We have an Alexa. You can set it on there. You can set it on your watch. You can set it on your phone.
The air quality.
Alexa's talking to me because I said her name. But I can say, Alexa, set a daily alarm for 10 p.m. And she'll set an alarm. And it'll go off at 10. Now I have to remember to unset it. But brush your teeth. That will kind of trigger, it kind of solves the late night snacking issue if that's one of your issues, which I didn't see anybody admit that on their check-ins, but we all have our issues, and it's not here to, remember, we're not beating ourselves up. We're celebrating the wins. We're celebrating things we're doing right. I'm going to remind you guys incessantly, and Holly is too, focus on the good things, focus on what you're doing right, not on what you're doing wrong. We all do things right. We all do things wrong. Just focus more conscious thought on what you're doing right. So, somebody else have a question? I hear somebody unmuted. I know I was ranting. Hopefully you guys got a lot out of this. And there's no other questions. Just keep nutrition simple. Stay above or ahead of the hunger curve. That's another real important strategy. If you wait too late and you push that fasting window too long and your blood sugar drops too low, your body kind of goes into a famine mode. It's going to hoard calories. It's going to be almost impossible to satiate yourself. So you're going to just be eating more than you would otherwise. So time it, like, make sure you have that critical window, say between 12 and 2 p.m. that you have that protein forward lunch or first meal. Could be a meal replacement. I don't know if I have my blender bottle back here, but you can see my blender. And I can make smoothies for 4 people in this bad boy. My 2 kids, myself, and my wife. That's one of our breakfast easy options. Or between meals, my kids will be hungry and I'll make us all a quick smoothie. And I've done demos on that, so I'm not going to bore you with that. But, just don't overthink it. I meant to bring some RTDs, some protein bars. I prefer the RTDs over the protein bars. It's closer, less processed. But protein bars, if you want something to chew on, a lot of good options. A lot of people say, oh, I don't like protein bars. Probably means you haven't tried enough. There's something for everybody. You can buy them like onesies at Publix or Vitamin Shop, kind of try a variety of different brands, and chances are one of them is an appeal to you. And it's better to have that calculated snack instead of getting behind the hunger curve. And then, you just get home, you're famished, and it's going to be really hard to satiate yourself. So when you eat real whole foods, A, it was easy to shop for, B, it wasn't expensive, it's easy to cook. Don't overcomplicate the cooking process. And hopefully you guys got a lot out of it and you're ready to conquer the kitchen. So if you're ready to conquer the kitchen, you got something out of this, throw me a thumbs up. And I'll go last call for questions so we can all go brush our teeth and start thinking about our bedtime routines. But actually I have to cook some of this food. So I'm going to be going to do that. Everybody good? Throw in the chat. I want to make sure you all know how to use the chat function. Just say something, even your name or your favorite emoji, throw it in there and we'll wrap it up. So I want to see if y'all are actually paying attention. Y'all are live. I see some things. Oh, there we go. Y'all are live. Good. I was hoping I didn't scare everybody. All right, well, I'll wrap this up. I'm going to stop the recording and we'll get this out to everybody so you can watch it in its entirety if you missed some of the bit. And we will see you on the next live. If you're not tuning in, the Magic Pill Mondays that I do live on the MegaCast, those are TrYumph Nation Live. At TrYumph Nation Live is our, scratch that, at TrYumph Nation TV, one word, that's our YouTube channel. My Magic Pill Mondays are on there. My Fat to Fit show is on there. Holly's, our TNL show, the one she or I do, or we do it together. Those episodes are all on there. And now we're using AI, some artificial intelligence, to break those shows up into little hot topic 45-second teaser segments on like specific things. So look for that. And I'm going to stop the recording.